Okay, guys, I hope you're doing great. I'm recording this video to have a recap and a quick revision of the questions of your sample test. This video is particularly for students of M4, MYP4 standard class for the final exam. So we're going to go through all of the questions. I don't promise you to solve all of the questions, but I do my best to at least solve one section of each of the questions. Okay, so that at least you can have some ideas how to solve the other parts on your own. So uh, just remember that this video is only meant to give you a quick revision of some sample questions. I'm not here to explain everything from the beginning, okay? We don't have enough time. It's just a quick revision of everything. One more time, just to make sure that we're on the same page, okay? Now, let's start with question number 1. Line L1 is parallel to the line L2. Line L1 is parallel to line L2. So what is happening? This is L1 and this is L2. I'm going to change this color. So let's make it bright white. Okay. L1 and L2 are parallel. They are parallel to each other. Okay. Fine. And what is the equation of L2 is given to you? Y equals to 4x minus 5. Find the slope of line L1. You know that if two lines are parallel, their slope is going to be the same. So we know that the equation of line 1, the general equation of any line is mx plus c. I'll label them as 1 just to make sure that we're talking about line 1. So we already know that m1 equals to 4. Y equals to 4 because two parallel lines, they have the same slope gradient. So y equals to 4x plus c1. Great. So we already know what is the value of the slope of line 1. But what about C1 or the y-intercept of line 1? The line L1 passes through the point A minus 2 and minus 1. Remember, I changed this point on your sample test. Okay, so make this adjustment. It's minus 2 and minus 1. Okay, so line L1 passes through this point A minus 2 and minus 1. So point A lies on line 1. What does it mean? I can get the coordinates of line point A and plugging it into the equation of L1. Let me change the color. So what is the y value of A? Minus 1 equals to m slope is 4 times the x value of line 1 point A, which is minus 2 plus C1. Remember, here you have an equation which you can easily solve. Okay, 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. Minus 8 to the other side is plus 8 equals to C1. So C1 is 7. So congratulations, you now have the equation of the line 1, the total equation, 4x plus 7. 4x plus 7. For some of you, maybe it's a question, but what you're doing here, remember, I'm getting the coordinates of point A, which is minus 2 and minus 1, and I'm plugging it into this equation here. Okay, why this equation? Because point A lies on line 1. So I'm allowed to get the coordinates of point A and plugging it into the equation of line 1. Okay, that's it. Question number 2. Line L is perpendicular to the line 2. It's very similar, but instead of doing parallel, we are doing perpendicular. So this is line 2, and this is line 1. Line 1 and line 2 are perpendicular to each other. So what is the equation of line 2? It's 6y minus 3x equals to 1. Okay, find the slope of the perpendicular line L1. What is the slope of line 1? Again, one more time, the equation of line 1, the slope intercept form of the equation is m1x plus c1. Okay, remember, this is the general equation of any line. So when I ask you go and find the slope or the equation of a line, I'm actually asking you to find these two values. Okay, now Look at the equation of L2. It's 6y minus 3x equals to 1. So if I ask you what is the slope of this line, many students, they're going to say it's minus 3. It's not minus 3. Why? Because first you need to make sure that this equation of line 2, is in the slope-intercept form. Is it in the slope-intercept form? Is it in this form, a number times x plus another number? No. The thing is that I have to bring minus 3x to the other side, and I have to also get rid of these 6. So I'm going to say 6y equals to plus 3x plus 1. Then I can divide everything by 6. So y equals to 3 over 6, which is 1 over 2 if I simplify, plus 1 over 6. This is the equation of line 2. This is the equation of line 2 in the slope-intercept form. Okay? Now you can tell me that the slope of this line is 1 over 2. Slope of line 2 is 1 over 2. Okay. If you have the slope of one line and you're going to go and find the perpendicular line, okay, so L2 perpendicular to L1. How can you find M1? You need to do two operations. So what is M2? M2 is 1 over 2. First, if it's a plus, you're going to make it negative. And if it's a negative, you're going to make it positive. In this case, plus 1 over 2 becomes minus 1 over 2. Okay? And then you have to flip it. What does it mean flipping? You have to exchange denominator with the denominator. So it's going to become minus 2 over 1. That's it. This is the slope of line 1. So y equals to minus 2x plus c1. The second part is literally the same as the second part of the previous question. It's literally the same concept. So 3 equals to minus 2 times 2 plus c1. Minus 2 times 2 is minus 4. To the other side, plus 4. So 3 plus 4 equals to c1. So c1 is 7. Okay? So the equation of this line, y equals to minus 2x plus 7. Okay? Minus 2x plus 7. Let me see. 3 minus 2 times 2 minus 4. Yes, 7. Okay? That's it. So this is the equation of line 1, L1. Y equals to minus 2x plus 7. And here the slope is minus 2 over 1. Slope of line 1. Okay? That's it. The first two questions. Okay. Simplify and rationalize. What is the idea of rationalizing? We don't like to see radicals in the denominator. Okay. So here minus square root of square root of 30 is the problem. This value here is the problem. What can I do? This is the way, this is the procedure. You're going to repeat the same value, 6 over minus 5, square root of 30. Remember, I have an equal here, so I'm not allowed to change the value. I don't want to change the value, but I'm going to do some operations in order to get rid of that square root of 30. Okay, I'm going to give you one simpler example for students who are a little new to this topic. Let's go for 1 over square root of 2. Okay, how can I rationalize it? How can I get rid of a square root in the denominator? I copy and paste the same value and I multiply it by square root of 2 over square root of 2. Okay, so why am I allowed to do it? Yes, because this fraction equals to 1 and I can multiply any value by 1 because it's going to be the same value. So I'm not changing its value. This equality is still here and it's a valid equality. So I'm not changing the value, although it seems that I'm multiplying by something. So probably I'm changing the value, but it's not the case here. Okay. Now, numerator times numerator. 1 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 2. Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 here. This multiplication gives you 2. Why? Because 2 times 2, 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Or you can also this rule, square root of a times the square root of a equals to a. In square root of any number times the square root of the same number gives you the same value. Okay. So look at this. Do you see any more square root in the denominator? No. So we have rationalized this fraction. Here, we're going to do the same procedure. I'm going to multiply by square root of 30 over square root of 30. Some students, they say, but what about minus 5? Remember, minus 5 is not the problem here for me, okay? So I just need to multiply by the square root of 30, which is a problem. 6 square root of 30 over minus 5 times, again, square root of 30 times the square root of 30 gives you 30. Now, am I done? No, because we also want to simplify. 6 and 30, you can simplify them by 6. So 6 divided by 6, 1. 30 divided by 6, 5. The final answer is the square root of 30 divided by 5 times 5 minus 25. This is the final answer. Okay? Another one. What about this case? So how can I simplify this? A square root of 10, I cannot do anything with that. But look at the square root of 40. 40 is 4 times 10. Okay? So square root of 40 is a square root of 4 times a square root of 10. Square root of 4 is 2. And the square root of 10, I cannot simplify. So it's 5 times 2 square root of 10 minus square root of 10. 5 times 2 square root of 10 is 10 square root of 10 minus square root of 10. 10 apples minus 1 apple gives you 9 apples. 9 square root of 10. Okay? One more. So this case of rationalizing is slightly different than the first one that we did. Here you have an addition here, okay? In the case that you have an addition or subtraction, as it has been explained to you in your classroom as well, you just need to, you need to do another operation. So you're going to copy and paste the same term, and you're going to multiply by, as it has been explained to you before, when you have a plus, you have to multiply by negative. So square root of 7 minus the square root of 2 times, on the denominator, you're going to copy and paste literally the same thing. One more time, I'm multiplying my value, this fraction, by 1, because any fraction over this, any value over the same value gives you 1. Am I allowed to multiply my value by 1? Yes, why not? So 5 over square root of 7 plus square root of 2 times square root of 7 minus square root of 2 over square root of 7 minus square root of 2. Now, you're going to ask me about what is the logic behind that. Remember, I'm going to use this rule. A plus b times a minus b gives you a to the power of 2 minus b to the power of 2. Okay, so let's see what is the advantage of that here. 5 times the square root of 7 minus the square root of 2, you cannot do anything with that. So let's copy and paste it. That's it. Leave it like that. But what about the denominator? Square root of 7 plus the square root of 2. Square root of 7 plus the square root of 2 times square root of 7 minus the square root of 2 gives you square root of 7 to the power of 2 minus square root of 2 to the power of 2. Square root of 7 to the power of 2 is 2. Square root of 2 to the power of, 7. And the square root of 2 to the power of 2 is 2. 7 minus 2, 5. So denominator is 5. Okay, now do you see any square root in the denominator? No. Good for you. Okay, 5 and 5 cancel each other out. The final answer is square root of 7 minus the square root of 2. Finish. Done. Okay, remember you have to rationalize and also simplify both of them. Okay, that's it. Now solve the following exponential equation. So in your course, we've learned that if we can make the same base, so if I say a to the power of triangle equals to a to the power of circle, then I can say triangle equals to circle, and then I'm going to solve this equation. Okay, now can we do the same thing here? Look at here, 16 is 4 to the power of 2. And 64 is 4 to the power of 3. Okay, so 4 to the power of 2 to the power of x plus 1 is 4 to the power of 2x plus 10. Why? I'm going to write the rule for you. A to the power of m to the power of n equals to a to the power of m times n equals to 4 to the power of 3. Do you see the same base here? Yes. So you can say 2x plus 10 equals to 3. 2x equals to 3 minus 10, which is minus 7. And x equals to minus 7 divided by 2. This is the final answer of this exponential equation. 16 times 4, 64. This is correct. Yeah. X equals to minus 7 divided by 2. Let me solve one more question. Let me also solve B. So here, I look at my base here, all the three bases. I can write all of them based on 3. So 9 is 3 to the power of 2 to the power of 3x equals to 3 to the power of 2x plus 1 times 3 to the power of 3. 27 is 3 to the power of 3. Again, I'm going to use the same rule. A to the power of m to the power of n equals to a to the power of m times n. So it's 3 to the power of 2 times 3x, which is 6x equals to 3 to the power of 2x plus 1 times 3 to the power of 3. Now I need to simplify this term. We know that a to the power of m times a to the power of n equals to a to the power of m plus n. So I can write 3 to the power of 6x equals to 3 to the power of 2x plus 1 plus 3. Now, since I have the same base on the both sides, I can say 6x equals to 2x plus 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. So 6x minus 2x equals to 4. 4x equals to 4. So x equals to 1. That's it. Okay, this is the solution of this question. Now, for the following set of data, find the 5-point summary of data and draw a box and whisker plot diagram here. Okay, so you have the data here. This is your data. The very first thing you need to do is to put the data in order. I have done it earlier, but in your question, in your exam, you have to do it on your own. Okay, so first you have to put the data in order. Now, I have explained how to do it with the GDC calculator, T-Inspire, but in your exam, you're supposed to do it on your own, especially if it's without calculator. Okay, so 12, we're gonna find the median. So the mean value is 12. The maximum value is 240. We're gonna find the median, we're gonna find the lower quartile, and we're gonna find the upper quartile. Lower quartile, median, and upper quartile. Okay, so let's find the median. Median is the number which is in the middle if you put the data in order. So 12 and 240 cancel each other out. 50 and 230, 88 and 220, 88 and 155, 88 and 140. Okay, 140 and 90, 90 and 132. 101 is your median. 101. What about the lower quartile and upper quartile? So let's find the lower quartile. Lower quartile is the median of the first section, and upper quartile is the median of the upper section. So 101 and 12 cancel each other out. 50 and 100, 88 and 99, 88 and 95, 88 and 93, 90 and 90. The average of them is 90. That's it. 240 and 103, 230 and 105, 220 and 110, this and no, pardon me, this 140 and 120, the average of 132 and 140, which is going to be 136. 136 is the upper quartile. Okay, now all you need to do is to draw the box and whisker plot. Here you might have an outlier, okay, and you know how to find the outliers, but the aim of this question is not to find the outliers. Okay, so you're going to draw a simple box and whisker plot with mean, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and maximum value. If you're supposed to find the outliers, we are going to mention it in your question. Okay, so what is the range of the numbers? Let's say that this is 0 and this is 240. Maybe this is, well, this is 100, this is 200, and this is 240. Okay, now 12 is here, 90 is here, a median 101 is here, Q3 136 it's here, and maximum is 240. That's it. I'm going to repeat it one more time. It's very, very possible that this 12 here is an outlier, but the aim of this question is not to find the outliers. If you're supposed to find the outliers, we're going to ask it in the question to show the outlier, okay? That's it. Okay, let me explain how to find the outliers. It might be the question of some of you. So let me find the outliers. How to find the outliers? You're gonna first find interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1. What is Q3? 136 minus 90, which is 46. Then you're gonna go and find upper bound and the upper fence and the lower fence. What is the upper fence value? Q3 plus 1.5 times interquartile range, which is going to be Q3 is 136 plus 1.5 times interquartile range, which is 46. We are almost sure, not very sure actually. So you might have some. Let's find it with the calculator. And what is the lower fence? Q1 minus 1.5 times interquartile range, which is 90 minus 1.5 times 46. I'm going to go and find these two numbers with the calculator. 136 minus plus 1.5 times 46. 190 minus 1.5 times 46. So file, menu, add calculator. So 136 plus 1.5 times 46, 205, and 90 minus 1.5 times 46, 21 and 205. So let's see, 205 and 46, 205. So this is an outlier, this is an outlier, this is an outlier, 3 outliers here. So 240 is an outlier, 230 is an outlier, 220 is also an outlier, okay? And number less than 21. So definitely 12 is also an outlier. So this is, okay. So this is going to be your new box and whisker plot. Okay, so in the new box and whisker plot, you have to show me the outliers, and you're going to continue the whiskers up until the last data, which is not an outlier, which means 50 and 155. So this is 155 and this is 50. Okay, that's it. So I did it in both cases for you. Now there is no excuse to tell me you didn't know how to do it. Okay, find the inverse function for each given function. In order to find the inverse function, we're gonna exchange input with the output. Here my output is f of x and my input is x. So I'm gonna turn output to input, and I'm gonna turn input to output. Okay, and then I'm going to isolate for the output. So x minus 2 equals to 10y, and y equals to x minus 2 divided by 10. Okay, that's it. This is the inverse function. If you want to be more precise, instead of y, you're going to put the notation for the inverse function, which is f minus 1 of x equals to x minus 2 divided by 10. Okay, remember this doesn't mean that it's f to the power of minus 1. No, it's f minus 1. It's just a notation of the inverse function. Okay, let me do also this one, which is a little more problematic for some of you. Again, instead of the output, I'm going to put the input, and instead of the input, I'm going to put the output, which is y. Okay, then I'm going to isolate for y. So I multiply everything by 2 because I'm going to get rid of this divided by 2. So it's going to be 2x equals to 5y minus 3, and 2x plus 3 equals to 5y, and then everything divided by 5. So y equals to 2x plus 3 divided by 5. At the end, instead of y, I'm going to put the notation of the inverse function g minus 1 of x equals to 2x plus 3 divided by 5. 2x plus 3 divided by 5, yes. Okay, factorization. We learned 3 techniques of factorizations in our course, and I hope you're able to use all of them. Sometimes you have the combination of them. In this case, we're going to go and find the common factor. So 4x to the power of 2 and 16x minus 16x, they have 4x as the common factor. 4 and 16, they have 4 as the common factor, and x to the power of 2 and x, they have x. So 4x is the common factor. How can I find the value into the parentheses? You're going to say 4x to the power of 2 divided by 4x is x, and minus 16x divided by 4x is minus 4. So it's going to be x minus 4. That's it. One other case. X to the power of 2 minus 9x plus 8. You're going to go and find two numbers which multiplication of them is minus 9, and addition of them is minus 9, and multiplication of them is 8. Okay, two numbers that addition of them is 8 and minus 9, and multiplication of them 8. So it's going to be minus 1 and minus 8, because minus 1 times minus 8 gives you plus 8. Minus 1 times minus 8 gives you plus 8. And minus 8 plus minus 8 gives you minus 9. That's it. What about this case here? First of all, I'm going to put it in order. So 2x to the power of 2 plus 8x plus 8. Then I notice that they all have a 2 in common. So 2x to the power of 2 plus 4x plus 4. Now I'm going to ask myself, can I find two numbers that the addition of them is plus 4 and the multiplication of them is 4? Well, you nailed it. It's 2 and 2. If you said 2 and 2. So it's 2x plus 2 to the power of 2. What about this case here? Okay, what do they have both of them in common? They have a 9x in common. Again, in order to find the value into the parentheses, 36x to the power of 2 divided by 9x is 4x to the power of 2. And minus 9x divided by 9x gives you minus 1. Am I done? I think not yet. Why? Because 4x to the power of 2 is 2x to the power of 2, and 1 is minus 1 to the power of 2. So here I can use the difference of squares, the third method of factorizing. So it's 9x times 2x minus 1 times 2x plus 1. What was the formula here? A to the power of 2 minus b to the power of 2 equals to a minus b times a plus b. That's it. This is the final answer. Question number 8. Solve the following quadratic equations. I'm going to do only 2 of them. Okay, I'm going to solve this. First of all, is it in the standard form? Yes, x to the power of 2 minus x minus 3. So it has to be in this form, ax to the power of 2 plus bx plus c, okay, equals to 0. Now, so I'm going to go and find delta. What is delta? It's minus b. What is the formula for delta? Delta is b to the power of 2 minus 4 times a times c. So minus 1 to the power of 2 minus 4 times 1 times minus 3. So it's 1 minus times minus plus 4 times 3, 12. Square root of 13. 4 times 3 is the square root of times 3 is 12. So pardon me, it's 13, not the square root of 13. Okay, delta is positive, so it means you have two distinct roots. What are the formula x1 equals to minus b plus square root of delta divided by 2a, and x2 equals to minus b plus, pardon me, minus square root of delta divided by 2a. Okay, so minus b, what is your b? It's minus 1. So minus 1 is plus 1, plus square root of 13 divided by 2a, 2 times 1. And literally the same thing with a minus. You cannot simplify this anymore. So 1 plus square root of 13 divided by 2, and 1 minus the square root of 13 divided by 2. These are the solutions of this equation. Okay, you don't need to simplify it. Leave it as it is, as what it is right here. That's it. These are the answers. One more. Let me do this one. 2x to the power of 2 plus 2x plus 1. So how do you solve this? You're going to go and find delta. There is another way to do it, which is going to be a little faster, which is delta prime. You don't need to learn it right now, but hopefully in M5, we are going to also talk about how to use delta prime to solve this equation faster. Delta is b to the power of 2, so 2 to the power of 2 minus 4 times 2 times 1. So it's 4 minus 8, which is minus 4, which is a negative number. Let me check. 2 to the power of 2 minus 8, exactly. Delta is negative, so this equation doesn't have any real roots. No real roots. Okay, that's it. Now, I think 2 is enough. Find the mean of the following data. So you have one data, x, with its frequency. How do you find the mean in this case? The mean equals to 10 times 3 plus 11 times 2 plus 12 times 5 up until, you're going to continue this, up until 17 times 5 over the total number of data. What is the total number of data? The sum of the frequency table. So 3 plus 2 plus 5 up until plus 5. That's it. Okay. If you put this into the calculator, I think the final answer is 13.2. I'm not sure. Let me check if I have the final answer. It's 13.02. Okay, 02, 105, or 13. If you want to round it to 3 significant figures, 13.0. That's it. This is the final answer. Okay, now let's continue. Question number 10. Solve the following systems of equations using elimination or substitution. I'm going to solve one of them with elimination and one of them with substitution. You can use the other method just to practice it for yourself. Here I'm going to use substitution. So I can say in the second equation, y equals to minus 3x minus 2. I'm going to get this value and put it into the other equation. So let me write it on the top. X minus 2 minus 3x minus 2 equals to plus 8. So x, you have to multiply this minus 2 with both those two terms. So plus 6x plus 4 minus 2 times minus 3 plus 6 minus 2 times minus 2 plus 4 equals to plus 8. So 7x equals to 8 minus 4, which is 4. X equals to 4 over 7. That's it. Okay, how can I find the y value? You know that y equals to minus 3x minus 2, so you can say y equals to minus 3 times 4 over 7 minus 2. We're going to go for common denominator, which is 7, minus 12, minus 14, which is going to give you minus 26 over 7. This is the value for y. This is the y value. So 4 over 7 and minus 26 over 7 are the solutions of this system of equations. Let me check. Minus 26 over 7. Minus 12 over 7 minus 14. Yes. Okay. Now, let me do this by elimination. Okay, so look at this equation. If I multiply this by 2, I'm going to have a new equation. So 2x minus 2y equals to 5. And I'm going to have minus 2x plus 6y equals to 2. Now, if I add up the right and the left side, minus 2x and 2x cancel each other out. So 6y minus 2y equals to 2 plus 5. 6 minus 2, 4y equals to 7. So y equals to 7 divided by 4. That's it. How can I find the x value? Choose one of these two equations. I choose the first one because it's a little easier. And I say minus x plus 3 times y, which is 7 over 4, equals to 1. So minus x equals to 1 minus 21 over 4. 21 over 4. Why 21? Because 3 times 7 is 21. Now, this value here, if I go for common denominator, is 4 minus 21, which is minus 17. So x equals to 17 divided by 4. So 17 divided by 4 and 7 divided by 4. That's it. This is the solution for this equation. Now, next question, graph the following quadratic function. Okay, I'm going to graph the first one. So first of all, is it concave up or concave down? It is concave up because a is positive. A is 1, so it is positive. It's concave up. Second, what is the y-intercept? It's 5. So 5 is the y-intercept. Y-intercept is 5. This is 1. This is second information. What about the third information? What is the axis of symmetry? X equals to minus b divided by 2a. So it's minus 2 divided by 2 times 1, which is going to be 1. So axis of symmetry is 1. X equals to 1. Now, we know that the x value of the vertex point, which is the minimum point because it's concave up, the x value of the minimum point is 1. How can I find the y value? I'm going to plug 1 into that equation. So 1 to the power of 2 minus 2 times 1 plus 5. So 1 minus 2 plus 5, which is going to be minus 1 plus 5, 4. So the point 1 and 4, which is here, 1 and 4 is the vertex or the minimum point. So the graph of your function has a form like this. In this equation, you don't need to do the last step to find the x-intercepts because logically there is no x-intercepts here in this equation. Why? Because it's concave up, so there is no intersection with the x-axis. Otherwise, you have to go and find delta. And based on the delta, you're going to go and find the x-intercepts. Again, this is not the case of this question because you don't have any x-intercept. Okay, find the minimum, maximum value, median, lower quartile, and upper quartile. Basically, the 5-point summary of data. And draw the box and whisker plot for this question. So the mean is 0. The mean is 0. The max is 6,000. Okay. The median is 80 divided by 240. Data number 40 helps you to find the median, which is 3,000. 3,000 is your median. Okay. 40 divided by 220. So 2,500 is your lower quartile. And what about the upper quartile? 60. 60 leads you to find the 3,500 to find the upper quartile. So this is the box and whisker plot for this question. Okay, box and whisker plot. Remember, 60 is not the upper quartile. 60 leads you to find the upper quartile. Okay, the same for 20. 20 is not the lower quartile. Data 20 leads you to find the value of the lower quartile, which is 2,500. Now, a little composite functions. So gx and f of x are given to you. Find f or g of minus 2. F or g of minus 2, I told you that you have to go from inside to outside as the priority of the operations. So input is minus 2, then you're going to put it in function g, then you're going to put it in function f. So minus 2 in the in function g, it's going to be minus 2 to the power of 2 plus 11 minus 2 to the power of 2, 4 plus 11 is 15. Then you're going to get 15 and put it into the function f. 15 minus 2, which is 13. So f o g of minus 2 is 13. Remember, you have to show you're working in the question. So don't give me the final answer only at 13. F o f of 1. F o f of 1. So f and f. In function f, I put 1. So 1 minus 2 is minus 1. And again, in function f, I'm going to put minus 1. So minus 1 minus 2 is minus 3. So f o f of minus 1 is minus 3. F o g of x. F o g of x, I have to start with g and then I'm going to put f. In function g, I put x. So the output is x to the power of 2 plus 11. And in function f, I'm putting x to the power of 2 plus 11 as the input. So the output is x to the power of 2 plus 11 minus 2. So it's x to the power of 2 plus 9. Remember, here is a little confusing. Let's suppose that you put an apple into the function g. So it's going to be apple to the power of 2 plus 11. Now, if you put apple to the power of 2 plus 11 into the function f, you're going to say the output is apple to the power of 2 plus 11 minus 2. Okay? So we're literally doing the same thing here on the top. X to the power of 2 plus 9. That's it. This question, write down the, okay, so the daily screen time in minutes of 100 teenagers was recorded during a survey. The data is given here. Write down the modal class. The modal class is the class with the highest amount of frequency, which is this class here. So the class between 120 and 180. Identify the interval containing the median. So in order to find the median, I have to put the data in order. Okay. I have 100 data. Why? Because 14 plus 22 plus 34 plus 20 plus 10 gives you 100. The data number 50 gives you the median. So 40 plus 22 is 36. 36. So from data number 37 to data 70, they are in this class here. So definitely data number 50 is in that class from 120 to 180. So this class also contains the median 180. Now estimate the mean. How to find the mean? So you're going to find the mid intervals. You're going to find the mid intervals of all of these classes, 210 and 270. Now, all you have to do is to do literally the same procedure as we did for the other question. So the estimation of the mean equals to 30 times 14 plus 90 times 22 plus 150 times 34 up until 270 times 10 divided by the total number of data. What is the total number of data? The sum of all these values, which is 100. The final answer is, I think I have it here, is 144. You might need to check it also one more time with your calculator, but this is the procedure to find the right answer. Complete the cumulative frequency table and draw a cumulative frequency curve. Okay, we're going to find the cumulative frequency curve of this table. How? First, I'm going to go and find the cumulative frequency of this table. So it's 14. 14 plus 22 is 36. 36 plus 34 is 70. 70 plus 20 is 90. And 90 plus 10 is 100. Okay. Then I'm going to choose the upper bounds, not the midpoint. It's a very common mistake. And I'm going to go and find the points 60 and 14, 120 and 36, 180 and 70, 240 and 90, 300 and 100. Okay, so what does it mean? I'm gonna go and choose the y-axis as the data, so it's from 0 to 300, and the y-axis as the cumulative frequency value, okay, which is the maximum value is 100. Okay, so maybe this is 100 and this is 200. Okay, so I have to go on find point 60 and 14. So maybe this is 50 and this is 25 and this is 75. Okay, so I'm gonna go and find 60 and 14. I'm not very precise, so maybe I can choose this point here, 60 and 14. I'm gonna go and choose 120 and 36. 120 is here, and or maybe it's here, and 36 is here. 180 and 70. 180 and 70, it's here. 240 and 90. 240 and 90, and 300 and 100. The very first point is also 0 and 0. So now I'm going to make an S-shape curve here. This is the cumulative frequency curve. Now, how can I find the mean, mode, median, everything? 100 data divided by 2. This value here leads you to have the median, which we can suppose it's 150. 25 leads you to find the lower quartile, which apparently is 100. Maybe it's not very precise. 100. Well, maybe it's 100, okay? And 75 leads you to find the upper quartile, which apparently is 100 and maybe 90. So this is your box, and these are your box and whiskers, okay? This is your box. So 5-point summary of data. Minimum value is 0. Maximum value is 300. Median is 150. Lower quartile is 100. And upper quartile is 190. That's it. You weren't supposed to, or yes, you were supposed to draw a box and whisker plot. We did it here. Can you estimate the percentage of teenagers with a screen time between 120 and 240? 120 and 240. Here we have to do the inverse procedure, okay? So 120 is here. So I'm going to go and find this value. Maybe it's 30, okay? And 240 is here. It has to be a straight line, okay? So maybe it's 92, for example. So 92 minus 30, 92 minus 30, which is 62, is the number of students who have a screen time between 120 and 240. Okay, I'm going to do one of these three questions because they are very similar to each other. Question number 17. Quadratic modeling. A mountain biker rides off a ramp during a stunt show. The biker's height above the ground in meters is given by h of t equals to minus 4t to the power of 2 plus 20t plus 3. What is the initial height? So how can I find the initial height? Initial height is initial, when time is 0. Okay, so h of 0 equals to minus 4, 0 to the power of 2 plus 20 times 0 plus 3. This is 0, this is 0, so the final answer is 3. So the initial height is 3, or the C value, okay, 3. Now, what is the greatest height reached? So look, this is the trajectory of your mountain biker, okay? So we're going to find this maximum point. How can I find the maximum point? So we know that the x max equals to minus p divided by 2a. So minus 20 divided by 2 times minus 4. If you simplify this, it's going to be 2.5. 2.5 is the maximum point. Okay, 2.5. Now, question, what does it mean? It means that after 2.5 seconds, you reach the maximum height, okay? But what is the maximum height? Question is asking you what is the maximum height. You're going to get this value and put it into the main equation. So h of 2.5 equals to minus 4, 2.5 to the power of 2 plus 20 times 2.5 plus 3, which is, the final answer is, I'm going to give you the final answer, 28. You can solve it with your calculator. And remember, for your exam, we are going to give you the questions which you don't need to use the calculator. So numbers are going to be much easier, especially if you're not supposed to use the calculator. So don't worry about that. So the maximum height is 28 meters. Should I check the answer? Maybe you can check it and you're gonna let me know if I have made any mistake, if I have made any mistake. Now, after how many seconds does the bicycle land on the ground? We're gonna find this value here, okay? This value here. What does it mean? Because at this point here, I'm hitting the ground. Okay, so how many seconds it takes? We're gonna find the x-intercepts, okay? How can we do that? We're gonna go and find delta, because I'm gonna find the x-intercept. So delta is b to the power of 2, which is 20 to the power of 2 minus 4 times minus 4 times 3, which is going to be 400 minus 4 times 4 times 3 gives you 48 with a plus, because minus times minus plus. 448, okay? So since delta positive, you have two x-intercepts, which you have to have two x-intercepts. Let me change the color to just make sure it's more clear for you. Now, the x-intercept that I want to find is minus b, which is minus 20, plus square root of 448 divided by 2 times minus 4. Okay, you need to simplify this in your question. Okay, how can you simplify this? Let's go and find the square root of 448. What is the square root of 448? Do I have any piece of paper? Yes. Okay, so 448, what is the square root of 448? 448 divisible by 4 is 11 and 2. Divisible by 4, so it's going to be 2. 32 divided by 4, 8. Divisible by 4, 7. Okay, so 448 is 4 to the power of 3 times 7. So the square root of 448 is 4 times 4 times 4 times 7. The square root of this value here. 4 times 4 is the square root is 4. 1/4 goes out. The square root of 4 is 2 out. Square root of 7, you cannot do anything with that. So 8 is square root of 7. I'm repeating one more time. I'm not supposed to explain you how to solve this. We talked about it in the class. So if you're confused, maybe we can talk about it in the classroom, how I got that number. So minus 20 plus 8 is square root of 7 divided by 2 times minus 4. Now, can I simplify? Yes. I can write minus 20 over 2 minus square root of 4 plus 8 square root of 7 over 2 minus the square root of 4. 8 and 8 cancel each other out. You're going to have a minus here. And 20 and 4 cancel each other out. 5. So it's going to be minus 5 over 2 minus square root of 7. This is one of the answers. Another answer is the same thing with a minus here. With a minus here. So if you put a minus here, here is going to become, the second answer is going to be with positive. Okay. So one answer is this point here, which I'm not interested in. The other answer is here, this one, which is going to be minus 5 over 2 plus a square root of 7. That's it. This is the time it takes for the biker to hit the ground or to land on the ground. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. I'm going to repeat it one more time. For your question, we do our best to put the numbers, which is not going to be very problematic for you to, or challenging for you to find the x-intercept or the y maximum. The aim of this question is just to practice some slightly harder questions. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.